The new year is almost here, but the predictions are already here. Sources like Forbes, Forrester, and Gartner are already providing forecasts about how tech is going to change our lives in 2020. So what we decided to do, we assembled some of our best experts here at CDW to weigh in and explain what you need to know to make your business grow and expand and do more in the new year. So, would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having us.
Oh, no problem.
My name is Nathan Coutinho. I run our digital workspace practice, and looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, great. We're going to have fun today.
We sure are. And I'm Sandra Bletner. I'm a principal with our consulting services organization.
So like I just said, we've got lots of companies out there telling everybody what's going to happen with IT in 2020. And so we want to let you know what we think about it. The first topic up for discussion is artificial intelligence. And according to Forbes, much of the AI applications will continue to be done through providers of as-a-service platforms. What do you guys think of that?
I couldn't agree more with that. You know, if you think about AI and all the resources that are needed to actually support that, you know, the scalability, the burstability, there's really no better environment than as a service, just due to cloud's inherent benefits around scalability and burstability and the automatic resource assignments possible. And I think the other, you know, interesting thing is, as we've seen cloud shift over the last several years, SaaS, right, software as a service, is the largest area of cloud adoption, just because that's where the majority of the services are. But a lot of the software as a service providers have actually allowed AI into their core offerings. So they've incorporated AI into their offerings, therefore releasing it to the masses.
Yeah.
Nathan?
So I totally agree 100%. You know, let's talk a little bit about why is cloud better for this, or why are they ahead of the game?
Right.
Well, if you think about the traditional data center and all the data sets that you have, most customers have not been able to integrate them all together.
Yeah.
And it's been hard because, you know, through needs, you've added more systems. Some are hybrid, some are cloud. Once you start having your data across all these different platforms, it really becomes hard to tie it in together. And you really ultimately need clean data to be able to perform machine learning and then in turn AI.
Right.
So that's the reason why. You think about a cloud provider, they have all your data in one place. Right? Assuming that you've built all the applications in the cloud, and even if you have it in a handful of providers, they now have APIs where you can integrate them together.
Yeah.
Most of the on-prem systems actually don't have APIs. You have to build those connectors custom.
Right.
So that's kind of the reason why. You know, there will be some customers that will obviously do that internally, but they will find it much harder to build and even harder to maintain. So I totally agree with that.
Those are really great points. You
Agreed. So scale, expertise, and just quicker time to market.
Bingo.
Yeah. So I just want to let our audience know we're also going to have some fun today. We have this fishbowl with questions.
Great.
We're going to reach in. These are some random questions, just you know, who knows who gets what. But we're off to a great start. Our next topic is IT modernization. And according to Tech Republic, the gap between digital ambition and reality is large. And CIO's budget allocation for IT modernization to grow 7% year over year through 2021 to try to close that gap. I mean, I think that that's a little realistic just based off of, you know, all of the things that go into modernization. But what do you guys think?
Do you want to start and I'll add my flavor?
Sure. So I definitely think there's a gap between reality and execution and budget, right? There's a lot of challenges when it comes to IT modernization, and I equate that as an example for cloud transformations, right? There are a number of challenges associated with that, things like employee pushback, you know, people that don't want to change things because it's not broken, why fix it kind of mentality. I don't want to learn new skills.
Right.
Other challenges such as lack of execution or strategy, or lack of know-how of creating a proper strategy before you move forward. So I certainly understand there's a number of challenges preempting the digital transformation, but it's also a good reminder that, you know, these transformations are multi-year efforts. It's not, Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's okay to start small and then scale once proven.
I agree. I think I haven't run into a customer that doesn't want to modernize. You know, the challenge is always like, how many other projects do they have, you know, on the docket for the year? Typically, most projects are not fully funded, or some drop off the year. So when you get to the new year, I've got to do all those operational projects to just do upgrades, modernization
Right.
of existing technologies. And then there's this massive digital modernization of the entire company. There are some concerns over privacy. And when you think about and ask people where they're storing data, okay, you can modernize it, but is it all going to the cloud? Is it going to the hybrid? So once you start thinking through them, and I agree, you've got to start now and you've got to start taking steps towards it. But what I also find really hard for customers is that the strategy changes as you go through a
Right.
merger and acquisition.
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
you kind of have to have that vision built ahead of time and figure out, okay, by the next 3 years, these 3 things have to
Right.
be done.
Yeah.
And that's how we get to it. But it's something that everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
And they kind of take it in different strides. Some will do it from more a business application perspective. So they'll modernize their ERP system or they'll modernize their web platforms. Some will modernize the collaboration platform or the UC platform. They take it in different strides, so there's no real right or wrong way to do this.
Right, yeah.
But the key is what you said is expect it to take multiple years. And my advice to all our customers is always try to figure out what's going to be most impactful for the business,
Right.
Especially if your business is threatened by any kind of disruption from the cloud or
Right.
another cloud provider. Start there. Try to make sure you're up to speed, like what the competitors are doing,
Yeah.
and then start kind of going back to all the other ones.
And it might have a lot to do with your business model in general.
Everyone's
Because
different.
like you said, if you want to
Everyone's
start with
different.
UC, that might be good for your business, but not necessarily for
Bingo.
someone else.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a great point earlier. We know that organizations are so challenged today, right? IT is just trying to keep the lights on in the data center. So how do you take time to be proactive to really take a holistic look and think strategically for the organization? I know time oftentimes is a challenge for our leaders.
Right.
Right, yeah. All right, so our next topic is, we talked a lot about cloud, but we're going to talk more about cloud.
Oh, awesome.
So, new hyperscale alliances, cloud native innovations, and security demands will reshape the cloud battleground, kind of like Lord of the Rings or, whatever. And that's according to Forrester. So do you guys see this happening? Is this something that you're concerned with?
I wouldn't say concern, and you have a better viewpoint on this.
Yeah.
I would say maybe. I think that it's interesting as we look at the cloud landscape and how it's matured over the last, half a decade or
Right.
decade. And, I remember starting out in cloud and people were like, don't say that word, it's horrible, don't say it, and we can't have it in our organization.
Right.
And today, most organizations are using
Yeah.
it, whether they know it or not. And they're warmed up to the infrastructure as a service
Right.
concept, right? They're either doing test dev, maybe they're doing net new applications.
Yeah.
I think the next forefront to that is probably modernizing core applications into the infrastructure as a service world. And so with that, we might see, partners such as CDWs, right, but partner so that they can ultimately provide a better hybrid experience for our clients.
Right. I said Lord of the Rings earlier. I was thinking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, completely different.
Right, yeah.
You didn't offend me, but I'm sure a lot of people.
I
will be
know
offended
people are
by
like,
that.
what are? Anyway.
I was just going to say, like, the word battleground is such a strong word. It's
Yeah.
like we're not seeing partners fight against each other. More to what Sandra said, I think we'll see more API access open up, more frameworks open up, so people can work together. Listen, there's a lot of customers that are moving to the cloud. There's no doubt that's going to
Yeah.
keep going. But there are a lot of customers that feel better to either build hybrid. I think hybrid's
Right.
probably the most common.
Yes.
But when you build hybrid, now the onus is a little bit on you to build security,
Yeah.
privacy, authentication, all those things that kind of make up that experience. And that's where it's going to be a little difficult. So that's where I don't think it's a battleground per se. I think it's going to be
Right.
a lot of these vendors working with each other to talk through how privacy is going to work, how
Yeah.
authentication is going to follow, how data is going to move from side to side, right? So if you think about cloud, hybrid, and on-prem, we manage data very differently, and we obviously had more controls from on-prem versus the cloud.
Yeah.
But now all the cloud providers have opened up the API, so you have a clear line of sight. So we'll see more of those happen, and I think it's going to be more of a handshake than it is going to be a battle, quite honestly.
Yeah, and you mentioned security. I read somewhere that a lot of companies they're opting to have a private cloud just because of some of the things that are happening in the atmosphere right now. So, anything else on that?
No, I mean, just to kind of feed off that question or that statement you made. There are some customers that want to do private cloud, and my advice to most customers that are on the fence about putting everything in the cloud is just look at the cloud providers' policies, where they
Right.
store the data, who has access to the data. Right now, I think it's and I think privacy is one of those things, and privacy and kind of data integrity is one of those things where we need better controls over, and everyone is starting to give full transparency to their customers,
Yeah.
including us to our own employees. It's
Yeah.
like, what data are you storing? Where is it stored? How long is it backed up for?
Right.
And who has access to it? Right? Not just managing the
Yeah.
cloud provider systems to
Yeah.
keep it functional, but where's the data flowing and all that kind of stuff. So over the next couple of years, we're going to see more and more granular controls for our customers and ourselves, so we know where our data is.
Yeah.
And Nathan, those are the same questions you should ask if you are storing your data on premise. So I love that you
Absolutely.
tied that in, because I think there's a
It doesn't
misnomer.
change.
It doesn't
Right.
change.
Yeah.
You know, people
Right.
think, oh, I'm shifting it to the cloud. It must be automatically secure. That's not
Nope.
the
No,
case. It's
not
a
at
shared
all. Yeah.
responsibility
Yeah.
model. So that's
Right.
great questions to ask if you're moving workloads.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, so you guys, more IT topics, or are we pulling from the bowl, or what do you guys want?
Let's do the bowl.
You
Yeah,
wanna
let's
do the
switch
ball?
it up a little bit.
All right, let's do it. All right, who wants to go first?
Sandra.
Thank you, Nathan. Oh, better pick a good one.
All right.
Let's see here. What incredibly common thing have you never done?
Are you gonna take it or
Actually,
pass?
I would love to hear both of your answers as well.
I have not. I'm sorry. Did you want to do it or didn't?
But I'll
you?
do it as well.
Okay.
I feel like I have a good answer for this
I
because I,
haven't
just
bungee
talked
jumped.
about
I
this.
haven't bungee jumped.
You haven't bungee. I haven't either.
Is that
All right.
Is that common though?
So, I don't know. I know a lot of people that have, or jumped out of a plane too.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, haven't done that either.
All right, so
So we were just talking about this weekend, and I have never had White Castle. I feel like for sure. I know
Really?
Nathan's like, what? I've never had it. I don't know. I've never had the opportunity to have White Castle.
yeah, I haven't even really thought about. I know one thing that everyone has seen, a movie everyone has seen that I haven't seen, Top Gun. I've never seen Top Gun.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Nope, never saw it.
We
There's
can fix
one
that
coming
problem.
out, I think, right?
Yeah, there's a new Top Gun
Is
coming
there?
out.
It's
Yeah.
a new one?
It's the 25th anniversary or 30th
Is it in
anniversary.
2020?
Yeah,
Like that.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh wow,
I believe
okay.
so.
Okay, IT questions or
Let's do another question from the fishbowl.
all right, let's do it. I will go. Let's
Awesome.
see. What am I gonna get? What's a fun fact about your CDW coworkers? What fun fact do your CDW coworkers not know about you?
Ooh.
Oh gosh. Anybody want to
Which
take
order
that
do we
one
want to go
first?
in? I think we should all come up with an answer,
A
right?
fun fact my CDW coworkers don't know about me.
I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty transparent, so
I
I feel like my
am
coworkers
too.
know. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll go since
Okay,
I have
go ahead.
one.
Yeah.
So I'm in a band. And
Really?
Yeah, and actually there's a bunch of CDW coworkers in the band too.
What's your
And-
band name called?
Big Boss and the Toes.
Big
There's a long
Boss?
story which I'll not explain. But yeah, it started off as a charity thing. So one of our coworkers does a annual marathon for Children's Miracle Network.
Oh yeah, we
And
do
so
that
just-
fun drive every year.
Yeah,
as a
exactly. So
company.
we're the band that plays in Lincolnshire, and it's pretty awesome. It's a lot of fun.
You have
I
got to
wouldn't-
let us know when you're playing next time.
We will play next summer for sure in Lincolnshire, but we started
cool.
playing block parties now, so
Okay.
that's our thing. There's no pressure, you know.
Yeah.
We don't charge customers, or it's just like we go and have a great time, and just to basically bring some music to all the communities.
Did
which
you
is
say
great.
what instrument you play?
I play guitar and I sing.
Okay.
I try to sing, I
Cool.
should say.
So you're like the lead singer?
It depends on the song. We mix it up just to avoid me everyone from hearing me for the entire time.
What's
so.
your music? Do you have a music genre?
It's everything from 60s to current day.
Wow.
It's everything. We play the crowd, so everyone likes different music, so we kind of try to mix it up as much
That's
as
so
possible.
cool. Something I never knew. Like, I don't have anything. Like you said, I'm kind of transparent.
I don't think I have anything. either.
Apparently, I'm not transparent enough. So,
Right.
you know.
All right, we're going to move on to data automation, right? Okay. So by 2020, Gartner says that more than 40% of data science tasks will be automated. Is that high or low? What do you guys think?
Okay, so I'm not going to make a prediction as
Yeah.
to or state whether that is correct or not because I really don't know. I will say that we're starting to automate a lot of our data just within my own team, but it all boils down to where the data is stored, and how clean the data is.
Okay.
So you think about it from, can we automate data that's already in the cloud? Probably, because it's fairly structured.
Right.
Unstructured data could be automated, but you have to take the unstructured data, structure it
Yeah.
through some sort of visualization or some sort of rule sets, and then you can automate it.
Yeah.
For those that are in the cloud, I think it's going to be a much easier transition to be able to start automating tasks because the data is there and it's already structured.
Yeah.
From these old silos of data that we all have in our
Yeah.
data centers, it's going to be much harder. Now, if there are some companies that have already kind of gone through this process of structuring data, a couple years ago, they probably put together a big data cluster and started, grouping the data together to make some sense out of all the data. Those are great because now you've already employed some machine learning algorithms and things like that to produce good data. At that point, yeah, you can automate it, right? But the challenge is not everyone is at that stage.
Right.
So, like I said, I don't know if 40% is the right number. If I can separate customers that are highly cloudified, that's not a word, but I'm going to say it anyway. They're highly cloudified and the data is available to them. I would say absolutely, that's probably a fairly good prediction.
Yeah.
But not everyone's at the same stage.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think you summarized it really well, and I totally agree with you. I think if you look at data scientists, I know that's like such a hot job right now for recruiters and for degrees for people that are in school. And so I know that it's a growing field, and just the sheer number of volume of data that's out there, especially in industries like healthcare or retail, is continuing to grow. So I'm sure that there are some tasks that can be automated, perhaps things like checking for anomalies in the data, preparing the data. Things like chatbots, I think that I use personally on my retailer websites are a great way to automate really mundane tasks or workflows.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you a quick example. So we use chatbots too, and we've had our own developers kind of build their own.
Yeah.
And it's so easy now because the APIs
great.
are available.
Yes.
Like you go back even 3 years, it was a nightmare because you had to basically create all these custom bots. Now, all the platforms that are out there that we use, all the cloud platforms have open APIs, and a lot of those have local applications, which means you can exploit the data in a good way.
Right.
And we use it for just example. So if I want to know, which customers we're visiting this week, we have a bot that can basically go out and actually search through all the customer data,
That's
so we can
awesome.
figure out who is doing what on which day.
Right.
And it's great for me running a business. So just my managers use it. I use it. My boss actually looks at it as well.
Right.
So it's a good way to kind of figure out which customers are we actually going out to and helping them with their problems on a daily basis. That's a great use of just a chatbot API.
It's helped you be more productive, could
Absolutely,
you say? Yeah.
night and day. If you took it away from me, I would go crazy because then I would start manually calling people. Right? It's fantastic. It's fascinating, but just I think we're at the brink of seeing this explode.
I
The
agree.
chatbots have been around for maybe 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
now, but now that it's inherent in almost every cloud platform that's out there, even the IaaS type kind of environments,
Yes.
right? It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
So
There's not one area that data does not touch at this point. Yeah.
That's right.
that's kind of a scary statement too.
Yeah,
It is a little
right?
scary
Yeah.
when you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, you think about privacy, and we didn't go into it too much, but I think data privacy is going to be the next big thing that not only customers are thinking about their customers' data privacy, but also about their own employees, their own coworkers, right? And
And where do you walk that line with
where do you
collecting
walk the
data?
line, right? Because the data is
From
everywhere. If you
employees.
think about how many data points you have just with your phone and all the different networks that it touches, and forget about all the apps that you have on there.
Yeah.
People think I'm crazy. I have 250 apps on my iPhone, and I think it's I don't use them all, but all of them have your login information and it's
Credit card,
credit
whatever,
card information,
yeah.
all that stuff. So once you start thinking about that as an employee and all the different systems they're using in-house that are hybrid and in the cloud.
On-prem,
It's a lot to think through. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot around security and
Yeah.
privacy
Yeah.
as we kind of go into the next couple
And
couple
with
years.
Internet of Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and IoT is already there, so it's
Yeah.
already
Right,
collecting
yeah,
data,
right,
right?
right.
The
Do you
sensors
guys
everywhere.
worry about that from a consumer level perspective? And I ask because, sometimes my husband and I are at home talking, and the next thing we know, we'll see something about whatever on our phone as an advertisement. And I'm like, is my phone listening to me? And then we recently just got these virtual assistants for our home
Yep.
too,
Yeah.
which have been great because
Yep.
now I can ask about the weather, ask about
such
my
a time
schedule.
saver.
Yes,
Time saver,
time
yeah.
saver. But
Yeah.
then I'm like, is it listening to me? Is it storing my data? I mean, should I be worried about this?
So there's
Yeah.
goods and bads of these virtual assistants, right? So I'll give you a good example. This just happened to me last week. I'm on my computer and I'm seeing all these ads for this toy, and I'm kind of like, why is the same toy coming up? It's my son. He's going on his computer, right? And he's looking at this toy, and looking at all the different pictures and different
Right,
website
yeah.
reviews. And all of a sudden, my wife and I are both on our computers, and we're seeing the same ads coming up.
Yeah.
Because your IP address at home is flagged.
Yep.
Right. So
Oh,
basically,
yeah.
anyone who goes to a site that participates in that, whatever ad stream, you see the same ad for the same product over and over again. It's kind of like when you want to buy a toaster oven and you go to
Yeah.
it, and then that toaster oven keeps following you for the next year until you buy it, or even after you buy it, they'll still
Yeah.
send it to you.
Let's
So that's kind of a good way.
Yeah.
But I think there are a lot of unknown effects, and
Yeah.
especially with the assistants. I think you'll see some of the companies recently, I wouldn't say caught, but they weren't really necessarily truthful in terms of what they were using
The
like
data
when we ask
for.
questions,
Right.
right? So now when you log into these devices, it says, can we record and use it for R&D?
Yeah.
And you say no. Now you know
Yeah,
where your data is actually, where it's actually going and storing. So I think there are a lot of unknowns in the consumer market,
Yeah.
and especially we all have these digital assistants. We have the watches, we have the
Yes.
phones,
Yeah.
and devices that are turning lights on and off, and it's great from an experience perspective. But I think we're not there in terms of where the data is actually being stored yet.
And
Yeah.
GDPR, it's in Europe, but it's going to affect businesses here in the United States, and they're
Sure
going to
do.
really have
Anybody.
to think about how they're using data because it's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it's coming full circle.
Right.
So let's move on to 5G connectivity.
Awesome.
So according to our own CDW Solutions blog, 5G connectivity is coming. Actually, it's already here. I saw a billboard on my way here.
Some
this
of it
morning.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In some places, depending on your carrier. So when it arrives, it's going to dramatically change the landscape of wireless connectivity. By incorporating cellular connectivity in their current operations, organizations can set themselves up for future success. So do you think that people should be that dependent on 5G at this point?
So I run our mobility group, so I have a couple of things to say about this.
Okay.
So 5G is not fully here yet by any means, right? So that's just the one thing you got to think it through. We expect it sometime next summer. It will be fairly well deployed. I say
Okay.
fairly, which means not the entire United States.
Okay.
Some cities, and it depends on which carrier. Some carriers more than others.
Right.
So what we've been advising our customers now, like you think about 5G, there's so many different applications. It's not just about the speed. It's better availability. It's
Right.
it's more parallel streams of data that you can send out. Some apps will have to be rewritten to be able to handle that kind of video.
Really? I didn't think about
to be able
that.
to make use of all that bandwidth
Yeah.
and parallel streams. They will have to rewrite some of these applications as well. However, on the surface, you need a device that is 5G capable, and you need a plan that's 5G capable. So
Yeah.
think about reactivating devices and new plans and all that kind of stuff. However, I think there's a huge application for 5G at home, replacing broadband.
Right.
There's also a bigger opportunity for companies, even with IoT sensors, that once had a really slow connection
Oh,
to be
now
able to
they're gonna-
upload data from sensors from the edge to major
Right.
data centers. Now they have that ability to go longer, faster, and just the ability to do it nationwide. So you need a device that can do it. Almost all the phones out there today cannot do 5G. So you're gonna have to replace your phone.
Really?
So whatever device you have, you're gonna have to replace
Okay.
from a device perspective, from a tablet perspective. Those don't exist today. There's
Okay.
a couple that are kind of on the fence, and I would say until those devices the networks actually are live with those devices, I would say stay away from them because you really don't know if it's gonna work or not, for
Okay.
sure. The ones that do work and what our customers are doing is they're upgrading all their routers. So if you have mobile routers with a removable modem, I know it sounds old school,
Yeah.
but that's how most ambulances work today. They have a cellular router and a physical modem in there that can go multi-network. So when you're in the job of or
Yeah.
in the business of saving lives, you have to be connected
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
right? Because you
Right.
can basically give all that
It's a life or
information
death
to the
situation,
physicians
yeah.
before they get there.
Yeah.
It's life or death. So those can now be upgraded. So you can
Right.
basically get the existing router when the 5G modems and 5G standards get ratified
Yeah.
completely and networks are available. All you do is you unplug that modem, you put the new one in, and you're done.
Yeah.
Right. So you still have to buy the new modem, you still have to buy the service, but you don't have to reconfigure all the other
Yeah.
stuff in the background. So think about that from ambulances, remote offices, all those that have those unpluggable modems today can all be upgraded next summer. So this is kind of a wait and see thing, right? So we're expecting right now mass majority of the markets will have some 5G connectivity next summer, and then it'll probably, my guess is the end of 2021 until it's everywhere.
Okay.
So it's going to take some time.
Yeah, you wanna?
I think what Nathan said.
I know, like what Nathan said. You hit it right on the head. Okay. Another IT topic, or are we pulling from the bowl?
You
Dealer's
decide.
choice. Yeah, you
Dealer's
decide.
choice. All right, let's pull from the bowl. And you didn't pull last time. so
Okay, I'll do
your
it.
turn.
Let's see. Oops. Oh boy. You're gonna like
can
this
pass.
That's a good one.
No, it's a good one. Will the Rise of Skywalker perform better or worse than The Last Jedi?
Read it again.
Okay. It's a lot of words. Will the Rise of Skywalker perform better or worse than The Last Jedi?
It's a tough one.
Okay, I'm not going to go watch it. I know people are not going to like me now. But I'll wait for it to come out on whatever, iTunes,
Okay.
whatever it is. But I think it'll perform better because it's the last movie.
Oh, was it? I mean,
It is, yeah. So yeah, the diehards, everybody's going to come in to see it, whether
yeah.
Regardless. Even the semi fans, the fair weather fans, they're still everybody knows that it's the end of an era, so they're going to jump in. I would agree. I think it's
Yeah.
going to do better. Yeah.
Any thoughts?
I mean, I have seen the Star Wars movie, but
I think we're all the same boat in this one.
I don't know. I would like to go to Star Wars, though, the theme park eventually.
Yeah, that
but-
does look fun.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were just talking about that earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was
I
at
can't-
some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Maybe let's pull another one. Who wants to read it? Or I'll pull and I'll read it. I had two, and I don't know. Maybe I should have got the other one. Okay. What office buzzwords or buzzword should be retired? Let's touch base. We should circle back. Let's take it offline. Or any other one. Which ones do you guys think should be retired?
I still have a lot of people saying out of the box. Still, even though we were supposed to technically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's get our software as a service out of the box.
Well, no. Wow. that makes you think for a
right,
second.
yeah.
No, it was supposed to be one of those when we went to 2000, right, and Millennium, all that stuff. That was one of those things. Let's not say that ever again.
Really?
I don't think many people followed that or
Stopped,
heard
yeah.
that one. So yeah, I still hear
Out of the
let's think
box.
outside the box. I'm
Right.
like, really? I think we got here because we were thinking outside the box. So
Right,
now,
right.
now
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
definitely talking about it more than we should. But what do you guys think?
Oh, there are so many.
There are a lot. It's like per my email. I already said this.
I
know.
Like per my email.
I hate
please
that one
see.
too, but then I use it.
I do
'cause
use it too, though. I know.
I hate that, but I will
Sometimes there's no other way to convey
exactly.
it.
There are so many. It's so hard to choose. I would say I'm a noodle on that. I'm a noodle on that. Are you guys guilty of using that?
Oh,
one?
yes.
No,
I say
don't-
that too.
I don't
Yeah.
use noodles in any kind of except in my food. I can use it in like vocabulary in general,
Right.
but
Yeah, I'm going to noodle on it. I say that
Yeah.
quite
Do you?
often. Yeah. Which, I mean, it conveys the fact that I'm going to
Yeah.
think about something for a while.
now I'm hungry for noodles.
Right,
so you know.
exactly.
Okay.
We haven't eaten lunch yet, so now we know. Okay, next topic. Gartner says that by 2023, the number of people with disabilities employed will triple due to AI, we just talked, and emerging technologies, reducing barriers to access. So more employees that have disabilities.
I definitely could see that trend increasing. AI has done a number of things to help folks with disabilities just gain more access to their environment, whether it's helping with, visual impairment or things like virtual assistants that we had talked about. So I definitely could see that, continuing to grow over the next few years. I think the interesting thing that we've seen at CDW is, just to dovetail a little bit, is the AI playing a role in senior care, so in independent and assisted living communities. We're creating things like the 21st century kind of community with smart apartments, right? So
Right.
to virtual assistants to help seniors, shut the faucet off, turn on the lights.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the clap on, clap off of the days
Yeah.
from the 80s
It's
and
the
90s.
new age clap on.
Yeah,
clap off,
exactly. So
2.0.
Right. So I think AI is doing a tremendous amount of things, like with helping, prevent falls in the senior care space. So
Yeah.
no doubt it could be translated to helping those with disabilities.
Okay. So we're almost out of time. We're going to pull from the bowl. Let's say one more time. I think, Sandra, it's your turn again.
Sure.
Maybe more than once. I don't know. Let's see how much time we have.
All righty. Ooh, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grow up?
Ooh.
I'm sure IT was
Yeah.
part of
Where did you know you were going to be working in IT?
Nope.
Yeah. I say I wanted to be a journalist.
I wanted to be an actual musician. I'm not there yet, but
You did?
Yeah, I actually did, and I played in a band in high school, and then it kind of went to college, and then it stopped for like a decade, and then I started again. But yeah, so I went to college for accounting. I'm not sure how that happened, and then right before I graduated, I ended up changing to management information systems. So that's how I got into IT.
Okay.
But yeah, it was an interesting. I think we all have different
Right.
aspirations and what kind of gets you. But for me in college, when it was actually the start of the internet, when HTML coding was a cool thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever a cool thing, but for me it was a cool thing, and that was kind of I'm like, wow, this is what I want to do,
Yeah.
and not coding per se, but I like the environment. That's how I got into IT.
I took coding in college too, and I loved it, but it was so new back then.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
what to do with it, so I just kept doing.
It's a good skill
yeah.
to learn regardless, because it helps you think about how
Right.
through problems and what if else and all that kind of stuff. But
Right. Actually, I went to school for agriculture. Wanted to be
Okay.
a journalist, went to school for agriculture, and eventually became a journalist.
nice.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
That's something my coworkers don't know about me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Coming full circle
Right.
answering that.
There we go again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I went to school for engineering and then fell into IT, so I guess that's kind of a. But I did not want to be an engineer when I was young, right? I actually wanted to be a doctor because I loved ER.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys remember that show?
Uh-huh.
And Rescue 911. I don't know
Oh,
if
wow.
any of you guys. I know.
I've heard of it. I don't know if I've seen it, but I've heard of
It
it.
was like a real life, I don't know, like dramatization of, emergencies, and they would walk through how, they got rescued. It was,
Yeah.
it was great. I loved
That's
it.
awesome.
All right, let's pull one more time. You want to do it or you want me to?
Oh, I'll do it.
Okay.
Why not? Let's see. Oh, this is a small question.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Is it a big one? You if
This
you
is
want
a short one.
pass.
I picked the right one.
Okay.
What's your IT anthem?
Oh, this is a great one to leave it off
Oh.
on, but I have to think about it.
So this is like a song, basically.
Yeah,
right?
your
So they're-
song. What's the song like when you're working hard and helps you to
Oh.
power through? What's that song?
Taking care of business.
Ooh,
Oh, I
good
like
one.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's a
like
good
that
song.
one, yeah.
What do you think?
Oh gosh.
I know there's so many.
Yeah, I know, right? Trying to think of one.
Well, I think it changes over time.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Depending on the day.
yeah.
so my thing, and for some reason, I don't know why, I only listen to music now in the car. There's
Yeah.
never
Oh,
enough
yeah.
time to listen to it at home, unless I'm jamming and my kids are playing with me and we're all screaming anyway. But my jam right now, just getting me in the mood, is "All My Life" by Foo Fighters. It's a pretty it's hard rock, almost metal-ish
Yeah.
song, right?
Uh-huh.
But it gives me pumps me up, and sometimes in the car it's bad because then I just start speeding. and
Yeah.
that never gets you.
Right.
That's never a good thing. But that's my current song. But it changes. There was a
Yeah, it changes
moment in time.
so
it was a
much.
lot of songs from Queen.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can go back and forth depending on
Right.
what you're listening to.
Wow, I'm still at a blank right now. I don't know why I listen to so much music. The only one that pops in my head, I actually don't want to say it. I listen to "Power" by Kanye West. It's an old song.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I feel empowered when I hear that. So much
good.
power. Yeah,
I like it.
Right.
I like that.
All right, so that's it. We're out of time. We're over time, but we were having so much fun, so we decided to keep going. But for you guys out there, thanks for joining us. Thank you too
Thank you for having
coming
us.
For having us.
on.
Yeah.
We really had a good time today. If you're watching, please follow us on wherever you're watching, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you're wherever you prefer, follow us. And while you're there on our site, why don't you go ahead and leave a comment? Let us know what IT tech trends are going to emerge or are going to grow in 2020. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think. And that's pretty much it. We're going to go and have lunch, eat some noodles.
Lunch
And
sounds
Sounds
great.
good.
Noodles
Yeah.
sound fantastic. So,
exactly.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.